Hello everyone, my name is Shelby. I go by Stitches by Shelby here on YouTube and also over on Instagram, and welcome to Flosstube episode number 2. I have a lot of stitchy stuff I want to show you this week. I had 4 new starts and a finish and an FFO, that's a fully finished object. But before we get into any of that, I just wanted to thank you all so much for the warm welcome I received after my first video a couple of weeks ago. I was really nervous to post that video, but I received so many wonderful comments and so many of you subscribed, and I'm just really truly grateful, and I can't even tell you how much every like, every comment, every subscribe, every view means to me. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to share my stitching with you again this week. First, I wanted to start off with kind of a Q&A, a more little get to know me, just some more stuff about myself since I didn't really tell you a lot in my last video. I am from Michigan. I live in the Grand Rapids area, and I live with my husband. We've been married for a little over 4 years, and our 2 cats. Maybe you'll get to see them later in the video if I can convince them to cooperate. This is Apricot. This is Apricot. He is our firstborn, we like to say. We got him just a couple weeks after we got married. We've had him since July of 2016, and he is the sweetest little boy. He's a senior kitty. We got him, he was already 8 years old, and now we've had him for 4 years, so we think he's around 12 or 13. And he is just so sweet. He is my buddy. He cuddles with me every night. He sleeps on my pillow, and I just love him. So when you see all that cat hair in my projects, now you know why. Okay, so this is Henna. We have had her for, stop, you're fine. We have had her since November of 2016. Love at first sight. I kind of surprised my husband with this adoption. We had already had Apricot, and we had been talking about getting a second cat, and I saw her at an adoption event that I went to with a friend. My friend was looking for a dog. She didn't get a dog, but I came home with a cat. So this is Henna. My day job, I work at a library, and I love it. It's amazing. This past week was our first week back open to the public since before Thanksgiving. And I was tired, but it was so nice to see our patrons and have them in the building again. And I also wanted to share with you some of my other hobbies. So as you might have guessed, because I work in a library, I also really like to read. So if you want to talk books, shoot me a message. Let's talk about books. If you need a recommendation, I'm happy to help. I also have many other crafts that I have done throughout the years. Lately, I've been pretty focused on cross stitch. I actually have a knitting whip to show you this week, so that's exciting, but I've also done crochet. I've done some embroidery. I was really into watercolor painting a couple of years ago. So I just love all the crafts. I also really enjoy watching movies. That's something that my husband and I have done together for a really long time. We really miss the theaters. They are open in Michigan, but we're not going right now. It's been almost a year since we saw a movie in a theater. We also like playing board games. That's another thing that we like to do. We do that often with my family. So yeah, so that's a little more about me. Now we can get into the stitching. I had a couple of previous finishes that I wanted to show. Both of these are from 2020. I think all the previous finishes from now on will be from 2020 because I think I've shown you everything that is from before that. So the first one that I have to show you is Merry Merry Needleworker by Lindy Stitches. I started this this was before I started taking really good notes. So I think I started it around the end of March, and I finished it July 27. I stitched this on 16 count Bashful Ada by Picture This Plus, and this one is significant because it is my first experience using fancy floss. So I did splurge and I bought some of the Weeks dye works for this, not all of the ones that were called for, but I really wanted the variegation in her dress and in her shoes. So I bought those couple of flosses. I love it. I think if I were to stitch it again, I would also buy the Weeks dye works for like the greenery, the vines and stuff. I used a blend of DMCs, and I'm not 100% happy with how that came out. I'm not sure where this frame is from. It's an 11 by 14 frame from one of the big box stores, I'm sure. This fabric, the background fabric that I used, is from Joann's, and I was just there the other day and they do still have it. I saw it because I also made myself a mask out of the leftovers, so it stood out to me. This kind of started my love affair with Lindy Stitch's designs. I've stitched a few of hers now. I think what I like about them is they're all kind of a little bit quirky, especially her lettering. I really like the font that she uses. So it says, "Mary, Mary Needleworker, how does your garden grow? With hand-dyed fabric, floss and pins, and scissors lined up in a row." And I think that this is the perfect addition to my home. The other previous finish I have to show you is the Snowy Chalkful Jar by Hands On Design. I'm sure you have seen this all over Flosstube and Instagram. This is the collaboration between Hands On Design and Priscilla Blaine from Stitching with the Housewives. For this one, I used the DMC conversion. I stitched it on 14 count black Aida, and I started it July 16 and I finished it October 8. I put it on sticky board with batting, and then I glued some pom-pom trim around the back. And then this is on magnets, so actually one of the magnets just came off, so that's why I'm kind of holding it a little funny, but that's okay. I'll have to re-hot glue it. I have stitched 4 of these, including this one, so I have like one for each season, so you'll see the rest of them as time goes on. This little chalkboard easel was from the Target dollar spot. My husband found it when he was on a grocery run in the middle of quarantine. And this just sits on the shelf that's above our TV, and I think it's really cute and I like them. I've also stitched Bloom and Harvest and Boo. And yeah, that's my previous finishes for this week. So I did mention that I had a finish and an FFO, and it was also a start since the last time. This is Lovely Gnomes by Autumn Lane Stitchery. It was in the February 2021 edition of Just Cross Stitch magazine. I stitched this on 16 count Bashful Aida. It was a leftover from when I stitched the Mary Mary Needleworker one. I started this on January 11 and I finished it on January 18. This got a lot of love over on Instagram. I was really excited because Just Cross Stitch, their Instagram page, kept reposting my progress photos, and then when I posted the finish, Autumn Lane Stitchery reposted it on their Instagram too, so I felt a little famous. It was just nice. I'm glad that people like it. I'm really happy with how it came out. I found this box in the unfinished wood section at Joann's, and then I mixed white acrylic paint with a little bit of water, and I just did a real light coat to kind of finish it off a little bit. I found the spring bouquet in their floral section, and I cut it apart and I stuck it into some floral foam that sits in the bottom here. And this is also attached on magnets, so if I want to, I can take it off and trade it out if I find another piece that fits really well with this, and I could also change out the flowers if I wanted to. I just used the called for DMC, and I stitched on this 7 days. This was my big focus this last couple of weeks. I put a lot of stitchy time into this, but I think it is just the cutest thing. The colors and the back stitching on this are so smart. It really brought it to life. It looks like a little drawing. I love it. I think it's so cute. So this also sits on the shelf above my TV, and I'm just obsessed. Love it. They're so cute. So now we can get into whips. The first whip I have for you is Winter's Lace by Dimensions. Here's a cover photo. So obviously for this, I'm just using the called for kit Aida and flosses. It's a 16 count Dove Gray Aida. And here's where I'm at. I just left it in the Q-snap because you can see everything that I've done in here. So I think last time I showed this, I had just done like the brown on the top of the wolf. So I finished out the wolf, and then it's hard to see, but I did fill in a lot of these background stitches. They're like basically the same color as the Aida, and they're one strand 10 stitch. So it's not super obvious where they are, but yeah, I got a lot done on this week. I worked on this for 9 days. And I mentioned in my last video that this is the project that I try to put in like a length or two of floss every day. So obviously out of the past 14 days, I didn't hit every day, but I made a lot of progress, and I am close to finishing the first page, and then I just have like the other half. So I hope to see a lot of progress on this in the next couple weeks as well. All right, Sorry if there is a slight angle or lighting change. My heat kicked on and it's really loud, so we're gonna try this again. My next whip that I have to show you is Mini Contessa with Squid by Heaven and Earth Designs. There's the cover photo. And here is where I am on it. So I don't remember exactly where I was in my last video. I was at about 4.9% and now I'm up to like 6.5%. And you're getting a sneak peek of my haul right now. I guess I can just talk about this right now. I got this little needle minder from House of Meng on Facebook. Here is the card. And I first saw this on Michelle Bendy Stitchy. She is also working on a Contessa with Squid, but I think she's doing the full size. But she had this needle minder and I really wanted to have the same needle minder to match my project because it's perfect. I think it has to be based on the same piece of art because it's just too good. It's based on artwork by Omar Ryan. And he does have an Etsy, so if you really like this picture, but you're like, I don't want to stitch that many stitches, you can go buy a print. I just ordered some stickers from him, and I'm very excited about them. They haven't come in yet, but I'll be sure to show you when they do. It'd be a cute little floss box decoration or something like that. I'm stitching this on 28 count Ivory Lugana 2/1 10 stitch. And this didn't see a ton of work the past couple weeks. I worked on it for 5 days, but I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks there'll be a lot of progress. I think I'm getting to the really fun parts with lots of tentacles and stuff, so yay, that's exciting. Next is Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers. There's the cover photo. I worked on this for 4 days. I'm stitching it on 32 count white Lugana. And last time you saw this, I had finished this heart motif right here, and I was working on filling in this one, I think. So I did this section here, and then I went up and those borders matched up, and so I was really happy about that. And then I stitched this center part here, and I think this is about 2/3, maybe not quite, but 2/3 done with that first page. So I'm really hopeful that in the next 2 weeks I can finish the page on this. That would be awesome. Okay, so the next one is one of my new starts. It is Cafe Mocha by Mill Hill. And I only worked on this for 2 days because then I started the Gnomes and I was just obsessed. I couldn't stop. So here is where I am. I got a good amount done though. I feel like this cup, I did another one of these coffee cup Mill Hill kits, and I felt like the first one took a long time, but I feel like this cup stitched up pretty quick. So maybe this one will go a little faster. I'm just using all the kit perforated paper. It's a 14 count natural perforated paper and all the kit flosses. And yeah, and there's my little needle minder. I made it with the Top Knot Stitcher DIY needle minder kit. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about this one. I would like to finish this, or probably not finish it, but I'll definitely put some more work into this in the next couple of weeks. In my last video, I mentioned that I was going to be starting a new Halloween ornament on the 13th of every month for like Dark 13 stitching or Stitch Halloween 13. I know there's a few different hashtags on Instagram that people are using. So this month on the 13th of January, I started Taboo Kitty by Mill Hill. This is actually supposed to be a magnet, like a fridge magnet, but I'm gonna make it into an ornament. I had another one too that was supposed to be a magnet, and I just used the magnets for other things. So here's where I am. Try not to be too impressed by my progress. I literally only worked on this for 1 day, and it wasn't even like a full day of stitching. I jumped around a lot on my projects the past couple weeks. I normally stitch pretty monogamously on 1 or 2 things. Like usually I put like a length of thread into the wolf and then I work on another project. But so there was days the past couple weeks where I stitched on 3 or 4 projects in a day. So this was just a little tiny start, but it's not a very big project. I'm hoping that this will be a finish the next time you see it, because I know on February 13, I'm probably gonna have a couple of starts because that's when the next stitching book club starts. And again, that's just all the kit, perforated paper, and flosses. Then on January 20, I started the Celebration Hope Small by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I felt like this was a good piece to work on because I am feeling really hopeful about 2021, and I just wanted a little reminder about it. So here's where I'm at. I only worked on this for 2 days, and I'm stitching it on 40 count mallow linen. This is my first experience with 40 count. The holes are very small, so I can only work on it in like bright daylight. Yesterday when I was at work, I went out to my car to stitch on my break, and that was perfect because I had lots of natural light so I could see really well. But I don't know that this is going to be like a nighttime project. And then I am using DMC 317. I really like this floss and fabric combination. I kind of borrowed it from the Stitchy reader. She has a Flosstube and also an Instagram, and she is doing one of Modern Folk Embroidery's pieces on a 40 count mallow linen with DMC 317. I do love stitching with only one thread because my stitches look very neat. So I could be convinced to continue to do that in the future. This is another needle minder that I made with that kit from Top Knot Stitcher. And yeah, I'm hoping that this will be a finish in the next couple of weeks because now I started a bunch of things and I need to finish some of them. But yeah, it's going really fast. I think I can finish this soon. Now for my knitting whip. I started this sweater in June of 2019. I'm gonna try to show you as best as I can. Okay, so this is the front side, and then this is gonna be like the neck part. So I'm working on getting this side to match this side, and then I have a little bit more to go on the collar. And then once I finish that, then it's mostly just assembly. I'll assemble the front and back pieces. I already have the back stitched. And then the only other thing to do is to pick up some stitches along the sleeve. It's a short sleeve sweater, so then I'm just gonna do a little bit of ribbing. It's gonna be like an oversized, slightly cropped sweater, so I'm hoping it'll be cute over like some dresses for work and stuff like that. The pattern is, it's called Hako Popover Sweater, and it's by Pam Powers. There's the cover photo. It's not, I don't know if you can tell, but it has like the collar that kind of like folds around the back. The yarn is Cloudborne Merino Alpaca Sport in the color Slate Heather. And I really don't want this to celebrate its second birthday. Honestly, this is only a couple of nights of knitting if I would just sit down and do it, but I've just been so into my stitching lately. But hopefully soon this will be a finish. I worked 2 days on this the past couple of weeks, so if I keep doing that, it could be pretty soon. Now, I do have a little bit of haul to show you. You got a sneak peek with that needle minder from House of Meng, but I did order another one from them as well. I got this Hocus Pocus one. The detail is just incredible. They're a little clay needle minders. This one's actually pretty hefty, so this would definitely be on a Q-snap project, but it was so cute, I couldn't leave it. And these shipped pretty quick. I ordered these January 4 just through Facebook Messenger. They shipped them pretty much immediately, and they came like 2 weeks or less later. So they came from Indonesia, so I was really impressed with that. The other thing I got was my pre-orders from Fat Quarter Shop. I got a couple of Stitching with the Housewives new patterns. So I got Be My Valentine. The stitch count on this is 69 by 70. And then I got Be Mine, and this one is so cute. And the stitch count on this is 99 by 50. So they're not very big. So I'm not sure if I want to try to finish another one. Theoretically, I'll leave these up all through February. So there's not like a huge rush. I have over a month where I could still display it, but we'll see. I do kind of want to finish some of the other things that I started, since I started a whole bunch of things, but these patterns are really cute. So we'll see what happens. Then I also got an order from 123 Stitch. I got a piece of 40 count mallow linen, which is what I'm stitching that Celebration Hope on. You can see I already cut out a piece of it. I also got a piece of 32 count light blue Lugana. I got 13 by 18 piece. So is that a fat eighth? I hope it's a fat eighth, because that's embarrassing if I just said that and it's not. So yeah, it's a really nice color. I got it just because I didn't really have any light blues in my stash, and I wanted to have some in case I wanted to stitch like a small on it or something. But now I'm kind of wondering if this would work for the Sense and Sensibility Stitching Book Club. So I might give that a try. I was gonna try to dye my own fabric, but if I have something that works, then maybe I won't do that. I don't know, but that could be a good option for people who definitely don't want to dye their own fabrics and don't get their hands on a kit. It's by Zweigart, and it's just light blue Lugana, and I think it would work. I also got Ladybug from Color and Cotton. I got this for those stitching with the Housewives patterns. There's some really nice variegation in there. That's pretty true to color. And it's for like the roses on both of these patterns. So there, and I think the lighter roses on here. So I have it for whenever I stitch it. And then I also got a bunch of DMC, not very exciting, but I don't even remember what it's for, but it's for something. I'm sure I'll find it. I'll bobbinate it, and then when I need it, it'll be there. I think that's it as far as haul goes. For my plans for the next couple of weeks, like I mentioned, I'd really like to get a page finish on Pandemic. I would really like to finish at least one of the smalls that I started, either the Celebration Hope small or the Taboo Kitty ornament, because I know I'm going to be starting Stitching Book Club and another ornament next month. So if I could get some of those other whips out of the way in the meantime, that would be awesome. Other than that, we'll just kind of see what happens. I did want either you guys to talk me into something or talk me out of it. Either one is fine. There are a few sales that I'm very tempted to participate in. One of them is the Modern Folk Embroidery 2021 Stitch Along. So here's a cover photo of that. It is just beautiful. I love this pattern. I loved it as soon as I saw it. My hesitation is that I already have my Heaven and Earth Designs and my Pandemic both started, and those are pretty big patterns, and I'm not sure if I want to add another big one into the mix, because I do really like to have progress on my whips pretty regularly. And the stitch count on this one is 382 by 251. So that's a big project. So I'm not sure if I want to add another one in, but it's way more fun to stitch them with other people. So I don't know. You guys, let me know what you think. Should I jump in? X-Stitch MD and I believe the Desert Stitcher, Beth, are hosting a stitch along for the bookcase by Galliana Cross Stitch on Etsy. And I love this pattern. I loved it when Shiloh X-Stitch MD first showed it on her channel. And again, I didn't jump in because it's a pretty big pattern. The stitch count is 207 by 272, but I just love it. And I'm seeing everybody else's and I really want to join, but I don't want to have 4 huge projects. So I know the solution is probably to pick one or none, but I kind of want to pick both. So I don't know. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me again. Let's talk in the comments below. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions. I'd love to chat. I will link everything that I talked about in today's video below. If I missed something, please just let me know. I'll add it if I can. Follow me on Instagram. It's Stitches by Shelby, just all one word, same as my YouTube name. I'll see you all in a couple of weeks, and I hope you have a very happy end of January, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.